Welcome to the PT Legends podcast, where co-host Dave Bess and myself, Scott Carpenter, share our journey and secrets of success. From our humble beginnings as personal training employees of a big box gym to struggling studio owners that have made every mistake in the book, to where we are now, the owners of a multi-seven-figure business operating multiple personal training studios internationally, and now coach and mentor to fitness professionals in 5 countries and counting. This is our story, and these are our secrets. Subscribe to our podcast, learn, take action, and build your own fitness empire. Welcome to the PT Legends podcast. I'm Scott.
Big Dave clocking in.
Clocking in, baby. Today we're going to talk about what I learned when a competitor moved in to the space directly next door to me in the first studio, and we shared a friggin' wall. And I don't know if you know all of it either.
No, I don't know hardly any of this story, so.
I don't know at that time if you were still an independent trainer, because I at least had the Arrowhead location, the second location, where I primarily was at, or I was here at Desert Ridge. I'm not entirely certain.
Okay.
I'm not certain if I had that Desert Ridge location or not. You might have been an independent trainer paying rent to Underground at that point, or you might have been the GM at Arrowhead at that point. I think you were the GM at Arrowhead at that point.
Okay.
Before you were a partner for sure.
Yeah.
I want to say it was probably like 2 or 3 years into having that first studio. And the shadiest landlords, I don't know if I'd probably name them, but shadiest landlords. And I knew the guy. So the guy had another training studio, a personal training studio, who opened it up right next to me. And I knew him because we had gotten together on at least 2, maybe 3 occasions to see if maybe we wanted to grow together and brand these things together. Him change his into Underground and pursue things moving forward.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then we had talked before. We and the landlord, one of them, we went out shooting together. We all went out shotgun shooting together at Ben Avery Range, the 3 of us. And I don't remember exactly what it was. Maybe it was I don't know. But anyways, like all of a sudden, those 2 started showing up around my place a lot. And then I see a sign go up, iCardio Fitness, right next door to me, sharing the friggin' wall, guys. And it was kind of like an Orange Theory clone, right? And so at this time, we had large group and semi-private and one-on-one personal training in my gym. And they were going to go all large group and totally undercut our prices. And then so I go to Robert, well, I just said his name, the landlord. I'm like, Robert, what the fuck? Because this is not a big complex, guys. There was like maybe 7 businesses total in there. And maybe at that time, maybe less because there was vacancies and it's still vacant. So there's vacancies. There's not a lot of business on a small corner. And I'm Robert, what the fuck? And because at this time, I didn't know enough with leases to like have an exclusive right to use it for fitness. Some of you may have that. Most of you probably don't. But that's a good thing to throw in there. And most places will not object to it unless you're at a huge complex or something like that. Then they probably won't. But anyways, I didn't have that in here. And you wouldn't think because it's a mom and pop. It's not a big company that owns this thing. Right fucking next door. Right next door.
So you were angry.
Oh, I was pissed. And also friggin' scared. Terrified too. Because, I mean, they're going in right there and undercutting our rates. And at that time, we did a lot of group, too. So it's like, what in the hell, you know?
What did the landlord say, though, when you're like, hey?
It's a shady motherfucker. He just go, he's like, well, I thought they were different. Like, I assumed they were different. And, like, because it was more cardio-based. No. They've got like, yes, they were trying to do like a Orange Theory knockoff, basically. So yes, they had, I think, rowers and treadmills, but they also had TRX and like dumbbells or kettlebells. So it's like, Not that different, Robert, you asshole. You know, like I was pissed, but then I was also like worried because like this is how I feed this is how I pay my bills.
Yeah.
And the business wasn't nearly as strong then. And I was growing to multiple locations faster than I definitely should have. So I was relying on that income. It's like, holy cow, this thing could evaporate. It's not like we were swimming in leads or anything like that, right? So that scarcity mindset really kicks in. And then Robert, yeah, what a dickhead.
You can tell this still rubs you the wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
Years later.
But here's the thing. The shadiest, the two brothers that owned it, I think they got it from daddy or something like that. That thing. But they were the worst landlords ever. The roof would never be fixed. It would always, we're talking to roof, and it would just leak through every single time it rained. They would just lie constantly for no reason that you had to lie. Like I couldn't see through and I didn't know they were lying. It's just a really bizarre thing. And what else did he do? Oh yeah. So the other brother, the one who's just more harmless, lived in the suite on the other side of me, lived there. Okay. Which you can't legally do, but he lived there. And periodically I would go over there to like sign in an addendum or a renewal or something like that. Right. So he lived there with 2 dogs. And so they'd bark and stuff like that. And you can't, it's totally illegal. But every time I went in there was piles of shit in there. So like in the front of this thing, he had like a sectional and stuff like that. And then in the back, he had like his kind of bedroom and bathroom back there. Really weird. But there was always like dog shit inside of there because he was so lazy and he was a drunk. So he would never take his dogs out and stuff like that. And then he would always smoke in there. So, and then I shot him a text one time. I'm like, because you can smell it through the walls. I'm not making this stuff up, right?
Jeez.
And it would smell like smoke, like cigarette smoke inside of the gym. And like I texted him one time and he just said he wasn't doing it. It's like, and then like he'd, wake up around like 9 o'clock and we've got like people coming out and he would stand outside smoking a cigarette right outside the door, which his door was right next to ours, shirtless. In all his shirtless in all his old fat Italian glory, smoking cigarettes, and I'm like, dude, this is kind of a rough area, anyways. Like you don't need to add to this. I don't need to smell dog shit through the walls and cigarette smoke, and yeah, and then when his brother, he was the one who was the liar. This guy was just dumb, but the other guy was the one who's blatantly just an asshole, but he would just like basically eye up any female that would be walking in there, including my now wife. Just a total creep. Yeah, what'd you get me started on, man?
Yeah, no, this is. So the bottom line is though, like you can tell even like now we would welcome any competitor if someone
totally different thing. I was scared to death. And I remember when that Amen Zone, that group place opened up around Arrowhead, and I saw the signs around our place, and I'm like, oh,
anger,
shit.
Yeah, anger is the first word that popped in my head.
Anger, fear, scarcity mindset, and sometimes I still get people, when Eat the Frog shows up or something like that, they're like, oh, you guys worried about it? I'm like, nah, I don't even think about it at all. And that has been a huge change in mindset that has come from one experience, 2 outliving those competitors. Because the iCardio's gone. I'm in fitness or zone or whatever, gone. They've been in and out. And a lot of them are playing in that group space, and it's a race to the bottom on price. And those ones you can't do it. Like it's miserable if you want to ride it out. So if you're playing in that space and you're trying to play in the group space and you are trying to undercut F45s, if you're trying to or play it around their game, F45s and Orange Theories and Fit Body Boot Camps, that's a hard game to play, guys. It's a really hard game to play because they've got more marketing resources. They got a bigger name than you.
It goes back to, we talk about this all the time, like the offense versus the defense. Like back in the days you're talking about, like it's very much, even like now I'm thinking of consults that I had, like it was very defensive to where I was trying to sell our program as superior. It's like, well, our groups are smaller. We're going to focus on compound movements. Or we're really going to focus on nutrition. We're going to design the macros specifically designed for you. So I mean, I haven't thought about this in years, but the way that we had consults back in those days, man, it caused me like, I'm just anxious right now. It's just because like you have that anger of, okay, we have 3 other competitors around. And at that time, like we were still seeking out a bigger purpose too. So it's like we didn't have, like, we were selling something honestly that we truly didn't believe in. We knew that there was something more out there. And then all these other shops would pop up next to you, and it was just anxiety and fear. And so let's play on defense. And now the conversations are so different. I think we in one of our podcasts, we talked in our discovery call process, like we have the discovery call to have very similar conversations to what we're talking about here, where if someone's like, no, what are your prices? And it's like, well, we don't work like that. If you're looking for something purely about price, go to Orange Theory. There's one right next to us.
And here's about what you can expect. Here's what it is monthly. And
here it is. Yeah.
And you connected them to the GM.
Yes.
So
I have a great buddy that runs an Orange Theory, a great guy. And guess what? I want him to succeed. So now if someone calls in, it's like, oh no, I just want something. The only thing I'm concerned about is price. I'm like, go to freaking Ryan. You're going to get a great workout. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's if you're ready to level up and, look at other aspects outside of just the workouts, then contact us again. And just having that frame and just honest and just genuine, like, here's what we are. We're different. We're all in. We want to change people's lives.
When you can sell what you're doing and sell 9-week programs at $2,000, $3,000, upwards of $8,000, that scarcity mindset really leaves you, because you can sign up 2, 3, 4 people a month and just be fine and even growing. And you don't need 15, 20. You don't feel like you got to lock down every single one. You don't need it. And it's so empowering when you're hopping on the phone and you can tell this person's aggressive, they're rude, they just want your prices. They never listen to a thing you said. Like, they're just looking for the best bargain. And when you can just send them away and without a care in the world and be like, oh, thank God, that was going to be horrible, right? How often have you did your best to convey value to that person, that you're better than the place around the corner?
Yep.
And try and get enough interest that they'd actually come in for a consultation with you. And it's just horrible. The whole experience was horrible. The great thing is you can recognize those people and you can send them away. And that is so empowering. Mm-hmm. Those are some of my favorite messages in our WhatsApp group when our legends say, sent that person away, dodged a bullet there. And it's so empowering not to feel like you have to smother every lead.
Yep.
And you can choose who you want to work with.
That's it.
That is so empowering, because we all have had those clients that are just rude or disrespectful, or they don't appreciate, they don't see you as they're never going to listen to you. Or maybe it's been even worse. Maybe where they've harassed a female employee or made other members feel uncomfortable. Those are ones where like, oh man, but it's like, I can't afford to, they pay $600 or maybe they're a PT client. They pay $600 or $800 a month. Like, I can't afford to let this person go. Like, can I just, like, that sucks. You need to be empowered to be able to like, nope, not a good fit for us.
There's nothing like the feeling, and we didn't have this feeling up until we switched over our model where we're in charge now. We're in control.
Yeah.
And potential clients smell that too. Like, we're never desperate. Like, the Legends clients that we work with, like, we teach them just to be so in control of just not their gym, but their life. Just every single conversation that they have is just different. They feel in control. And then when the stars aligned and you have someone across the desk that you really connect with, at the end of the day, you don't even sell them anything because they're buying you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. It's just, I mean, it's like dating. If you're very needy, people can smell that, and you usually get the exact opposite effect of what you're trying to do, right? Yep. And when you're very just super confident in who you are and super confident in what you do, people sense that, and they're attracted to that, and they want to be led by that. I mean, that's as simple as it is. And, oh, man, yeah, with some of those discovery calls and how, like, I've had it where they just don't want to, like, yeah, I don't like the phone. Because we're sending them messages. Yep. They want to come in and blah, blah. I'm like, well, the way we start is first by setting up a 7-minute phone call to see if you're a good fit for one of our programs before we have you come in. Mm-hmm. And then they're just messaging like, I don't like the phone. I just want to come in. It's like, okay, well, we do this so that it's, to save you and I both time to make sure you're a good fit. So that's okay. And that's it. Yep. But then I go on that person's Facebook profile And I'd look at that. I'm like, holy shit, dodged a bullet. Like just from the t-shirt you're wearing to the things you've posted, I'm like, wow, I'm so glad I did not bend the rules to have you come to our gym, because that would have been awful. That would have been awful. And yes, if they're going to get insulted because that's how we do it, you don't want them in your gym. I can't walk in and demand to speak to the dermatologist.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, they're like, well, you have to make an appointment. Oh, I don't do appointments.
Doesn't happen.
You don't want that person in your doctor's office. You don't want that person in your gym. Like, it's so empowering to be able to send people, because people are nuts out there. People are friggin' nuts. You have stories. I've got stories about some crazy people, crazy shit. And they're all out there. Not most people, but you'll get them. And the great thing is like, you don't need to feel like you need those people to make it through and pay your bills and make a good profit. And that has taken a while.
Yes.
I don't, even when we were doing really good, Dave, over the years, when we started getting better and better and our finances were better and better and better, there's still like that little bit of desperate,
the pit bull of we're better, we're better.
Yep. You never really rest easy, and you have that scarcity mindset still, and you have to prove yourself all the time. And now we just are, and we don't worry about competitors.
No, I would actually welcome competitors in the dream world. I was just thinking I would want to be in a nice area surrounded by 6, 8, 10, 12 competitors. Give me more conversations.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the truth, guys. And especially once you step out of the commodity game, if you are just giving workouts and maybe some nutrition coaching, you have to really fight to differentiate yourself. And it's hard to not discredit those around you either, too, right? I remember with we work with so many CrossFit gyms now, but I used to be defensive against CrossFit. You used to be defensive about CrossFit, right?
Oh yeah, you're gonna get hurt.
Right. And I know you CrossFit gym owners listening right now, you guys are tired of getting that shit. And but that's what you're gonna get from your other competitors, right? Because that's the easiest way to disparage CrossFit. Do I know that's not true? Yep. Right? At least now. Before, I didn't want to look into it because I'm like, I don't want to know the truth. You know what I mean? Just it can hurt you, right? But you don't have to do that now, because you are selling. If you sell if you have a transformational offer that we just talked about on the last podcast, and you are selling an internal, instead of selling workouts, instead of selling even just weight loss, which is what they think they need, you're selling, instead of selling a transactional program, you're selling a transformational program. You're not selling workouts. You're not selling macros. You're not selling whatever. You're selling a transformational program where you're helping them change their identity. They are going from lost and uncomfortable in their own skin to being the badass mom that I know I need to be. Like, you're selling that shift. You don't need to even get into how your workouts are different than the people around the corner. It doesn't matter. They don't even give a shit. They don't. No. They want that, not just the external change, but they crave that internal change. And if you can show them that that's what your program does, you are not competing with anybody. You can be the most expensive, and you can be fucking proud of it and stand behind it and tell them exactly why you're the most expensive. And that's it.
That's powerful too.
It is. Oh,
it's
God,
fun.
it's so
it makes
powerful.
it fun. It makes it just so, like I said, it's purpose driven. Like, let's have a conversation, and it's so fun at the end when you really connect with someone. It's like they're like, I'm buying them as a potential client. Like that's it. It's like, we're going through this. It's like, no, do you see the journey we're going to go on together? Because if you're not 100%, if you don't see it, then don't do the program. No, I see it. I want to do it. It's like, well, are you going to put your work in every single day? Because if you don't, guess what? It's just like F45. It's a Wahlberg program. Are you going to put the work in every single day? Yeah, I am. Okay. Calls the program is 4K. Let's do it. That's the conversation.
Simple as that.
They don't have any objections either when you handle it like that.
Mm-mm.
And I would send them to Orange Theory. Hey, you want to get some cardio in? All right, go to Orange Theory for a couple days.
By the way, one of the ones you sent to Orange Theory, and it was Ryan that runs that one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Ryan's awesome.
Great.
And yeah, so we hooked them up. She came back 2 months later, because Dave said, like, yeah, if you're interested in more than just the workouts, and you realize like you need more to make this change that you're seeking, like, come back to us. That's what we do. That's what we specialize in. And she came back in 2 months, and she did a $3,000 paid in full, right?
Yep. Great,
So-
great transformation too. Just
Yeah.
mind, body, soul, lost 12. Yeah, we edited her before and after photo from it. Like it's
Nice.
insane. But yeah, it was her time. It was her time to step up and look at something more. So just going in that with that energy source of just every single day, I'm going to help out the people that come near me. And if they're not in that energy, that, like you said, that positive space of like, hey, I want to work with this person, then you can just shift them down the road. Like it's amazing to feel in control of the conversations.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, like it's good to develop relationships with people around you. I know that Lakin's been doing that because they can't do PT at another group place where a competitor, right?
Yep.
Of hers. And they're not allowed to contractually, it's a franchise. So she's developed a relationship with them. And so they can refer back and forth now, which is unbelievable. And she's got people from there because they can't do those things. Yep. And so it's perfect. These guys don't have to be your competitors. They can be your collaborators.
There should not be any, like, competitor is such a bad word, such a sour, negative word. Like, my competitor. No, like, just collaborate. Let's all collaborate together. The world would be a lot better place if we didn't.
At the end of the day, we have very similar missions.
Yep.
Right?
That's it.
And that's a good thing. So that we need more people in the world like us. So that's it, guys. We'll leave you with that. And tune in next week. We'll be back for another PT Legends podcast. Thanks, guys. Dave and myself, Scott, would love to thank you for tuning in and listening to the PT Legends podcast. You can get direct access to us by joining our free Facebook group. Go to www.facebook.com/groups/7-figure personal trainer. That's 7-figure personal trainer with the number 7. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you can keep on learning and keep on living. Finally, if you picked up any tips whatsoever in this episode that you found helpful, be sure to leave us a review and tell us what you like best about it. Can't wait to see you on the next episode.